Welcome to the Board Game Snobs podcast. Critically harsh reviews with a touch of class.
And go.
And welcome to the internet. Have a look around. This is the Board Game Snobs podcast, the only podcast that you need to listen to regarding anything board game related. That's not true. Actually,
Mostly non-board game related.
non-board game related.
Entertainment related.
Entertainment.
We're an entertainment board game podcast.
We are, and we are highly entertained.
I am Gabi, the primary host. That's Jerry, the self-proclaimed star, and Enrique.
Hello.
What's your definition of yourself?
Producer.
Producer? But he doesn't.
Yeah, I don't produce anything.
He's going to produce something
Mascot.
for us
It'd
here shortly.
Be mascot, at least.
Mascot.
Manager of money.
You don't manage her. You could give
You have
us
some money to give us?
silent.
Okay, we'll take it. And we will give you whatever you want. You give us money, you can call yourself whatever you want.
Yeah.
For $600, you can become the executive producer.
Executive producer
Zamora.
Enrique Sriracha Zamora.
Sriracha. That's a spice.
It's good. Put that in some mayonnaise.
Is sriracha a spice?
I don't know if it's a spice as so much as it's a sauce. A spicy sauce. What is a spice?
Girl.
You got scary, posh, ginger, baby, sporty.
Hot sauce.
It's a hot sauce.
Which one's married to Beckham and who is bending him?
Posh.
Posh.
Posh spice.
That's British for very fancy.
It's right.
Right?
Gargo.
Goggo.
Megalodon. Well, hello, Jerry.
You haven't seen F9 yet, have you?
I haven't seen it.
I've seen the reviews of it. They're frightening.
It's middling.
I read a review, and I'm not going to spoil this for anybody, but in the review, they insinuated that they take a car into
They go to space.
Okay.
Go to space. They finally go to space.
Okay,
this is it. In a Pontiac Fiero, a car which I thought was awesome when I was a young man,
Well, it is still awesome.
especially when you could put jets on it.
What is the oldest and most uncool car you've ever driven or possessed?
The oldest and uncoolest?
Yes. Uncool.
My family had a station wagon Mercury Grand Marquis with faux wood paneling.
Grand Marquis are amazing. Enrique, you don't even know about cars.
Yeah, obviously. I
Your
don't know
father owns one of those National Lampoon vans. Your
Yeah.
dad owns one of those amazing vans that you can stand up in and has a queen-size bed in the back.
Ooh, nice.
I learned to drive on, are you ready for this?
Dun, 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 dun,
Day was
dun,
born.
dun.
A Delta 88 Oldsmobile 88. Light blue grandma car, literally only manufactured and marketed to people over 65 years of age. This car had the little push button door handle things.
Okay.
Push button radio. It was made in 1988, the Delta 88. It was my mother's car. When you-
88 must be nice. My family drove a 77 Pontiac Catalina.
When you opened up the little tray in the middle, there was Werther's Original in it, little candies. And when you ate them all gone, you could close it, and every time you opened it, it refreshed. There was always Werther's Originals in it.
Like the Werther Fairy.
It was like the Werther Fairy. It smelled of Ben Gay and Ovaltine. The trunk
Should have been called Roundtine.
had never been opened. You never got into the trunk of this vehicle.
But you could hide like 10 bodies in there if you needed
could.
to.
The previous owner may or may not have been in there preserved.
We had a Maverick car. It was called a Maverick. I think it was Ford made, but it was a Maverick.
A Ford Maverick.
I think it was a Ford Maverick. They don't make them anymore, but yes. And I remember that because that was in Top Gun. His name was Maverick. I was like, hey, that's the name of our car.
That's cool.
That's the name of our car. What's the deal with Maverick?
Jerry. I can't do a good anything off
I
of
don't know what you're
Seinfeld.
doing.
Yeah, it's like, who's the guy that was the tick? He's got the real low voice.
Who?
The guy who was the tick. He played
Putty.
Putty.
Yes.
I liked his silky baritone. He had that deep voice. Like, And you know what makes that is like there's like folds in your larynx that are just deep cut. That this makes that noise, that reverberation deep down. It comes from your diaphragm.
No breathing.
No breathing.
I don't have folds in my larynx, I don't think.
Hello, Newman. I sounded like Emperor Palpatine.
Hello, Newman.
Hello, Newman.
Hello, Newman. Well, that was a British show. If it aired on KERA, hello, Newman.
You sound like you've lost your way.
Yes, feel your hate getting stronger in you.
Oh, you
That would have messed up Star Wars if he had like that real bad Cockney accent. Yes, feel the hate growing in you.
Oh, your friends are dead.
Oh, your friends are dead.
Ah, the stormtroopers. A minute.
Like be like, huh? Doesn't quite have the same impact.
Yeah, what am I watching here? Star Wars or a parody of it?
Yeah, he's just sitting there in his chair drinking Foster's, throwing shrimps on it. We're gonna go down and kill all those Ewoks.
Welcome to the dark side.
I'm your sister.
There is another, your bloody sister.
You kissed your sister.
You kissed your bloody sister, you did.
Bogan.
You bloody bogan, you kissed your bloody sister. Do you even know it?
I think bloody is an actual curse word in...
But we ain't there, are we?
Yeah, we're not. So technically it's not a curse word because we are stationed here.
Station.
Like we're in the Air Force. Like we're stationed here. Why did I say that?
I'm in Fort Texas.
Yes, we are here. This is the Board Game Snobs podcast.
Welcome to the Board Game Snobs.
You made a wise choice.
I'm Dan Hughes' older cousin, Bland Hughes.
Bland Hughes. It's Dan Hughes, but slightly milder.
I have no strong opinions.
I'm Bland Hughes.
I will pay those prices.
I might pay those prices.
I might pay those prices.
Hi, and welcome to Sporadically Bored. Temporarily unamused. Oh, Lord.
Oh, that's going to do it for this show. Oh, I'm out. Can't top that.
Did you have banter? Or you had this
You
orange
just
book.
saw me put my book wrap on. That means I'm done.
But you opened it, but then you didn't say anything out of it.
But because
Because I've written, it's all gone. Like I've crossed it all out. We're done.
Okay, so I
I'm
have
bantered out.
I have banter. Activate the banter section.
Oh, okay.
On one,
Okay.
two.
Wait, stop. Restart your count.
Okay, hang on a second. I'll activate the banter section. On 1, 2.
Wait.
Yeah.
Sorry. I've got them in different areas.
1, 1.5, 2.
Okay, that's it.
Activate the banter.
Banter segment. Engage.
There's no one does what Board Game Snobs do better. They are almost professional level comedians.
Okay, so I was watching the news the other day,
yes.
and in our area where I live, southeastern Oklahoma, there was a...
Oh, good for you.
Do you mind? Do you mind? There was an alert regarding a missing child.
Uh-oh.
And of course, I pay attention to such things.
An Amber Alert.
A Amber Alert. So, to my horror, okay, just FYI, a few days later, like that day, they found the child. It was a false
Good ending.
Good ending.
Good to hear.
Yeah, this is not going to be one of those depressing things. Gabi, of course, relates to me about how he's following somebody on Twitter whose child has been missing that's posted.
He was a Twitch streamer, and his daughter, Sarah, was missing for like almost a week. May have been a week.
No.
as of like today. And it's just one of those weird things. Like it just popped up in my feed. I'm like, oh, he's a streamer. And he's like, today was my birthday. I was going to do a birthday stream, but my daughter snuck out last night. We're looking for her. And then it turned into like, okay, she hasn't come home. Okay, now we're looking. Okay, now the police are involved. And it just like grew and grew and grew. He had a hashtag find Sarah. His name was like Marky Perk. I think his name's actually Perkins, but he's a Twitch streamer. And it just kind of grew into this thing. And it's just one of those weird things I just started following on Twitter. And so then I'm like, become invested. I'm like, oh my God, are they going to find his daughter? And then he also faces this backlash, which is weird. Cause like people saying, cause he like went on later on and a couple of days later and was like streaming. He's like streaming about his daughter missing. And people are like accusing him of basically using this to promote his stream. It was like super weird and awkward. But then, like today, I'm like, he had on there, I found my daughter. And for this person, I do not know, never seen, knew nothing about 7 days ago. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe they found his daughter. I was like, very happy.
Very good, very good. So Gabi then proceeds to tell me this story. And then I go, yeah, well, I have been, watching this thing that's literally happening a few miles from Gabi. And Gabi says, I have no clue what you're talking about.
No, don't talk about.
So, of course, I proceed to berate Gabi for, number one, watching something on Twitter that he has no effect over, but yet being completely...
I was very involved.
...ignorant to something that he could affect that's in his neighborhood.
My backyard.
Your backyard. And so, again, that just...
Hugo, the backyard of Paris.
Right.
Just saying.
And it is. It's like where all the chickens are at. So, yeah, it was this weird thing of how you can be disconnected by local happenings, but at the same time be so involved in, like, international or national stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you could completely be...
Like, I could literally have gone outside and been on the lookout for this girl missing from Hugo, but I didn't know she was missing because I had no idea. But yet, this guy, I don't even know where he's from, what he's doing, but I was invested in his story.
Right. Which gets me to my point about how useless social media is. It's like, so we have this same thing that happens in board gaming, where there's so much news and stuff, like things going on, and a lot of it's drama. Like things happen and they get splattered all over Twitter or various areas, and it's like you have to stay up on everything to be involved in anything. And I don't like that. Like, I don't like being involved in the drama of Twitter or any of the board game stuff.
Well, that's all it is drama on Twitter.
Right. I do, however, like to know about what's going on and being able to see the upcoming stuff. But it's like, if you want to know about anything, you also have to be involved in the Twitter and craziness that is social media. And what I have found that the easiest thing to do to avoid all the negative and just get the positive is that I just go to BGG and look at the hotness.
Yeah. It's fun. I very rarely visit BGG.
So all I do is I go into BGG, I look at the hotness.
Which is pretty much the nexus of the board gaming universe if you're a board gamer and a podcaster.
Yeah, I go to the BGG, I look at the hotness, and then I look at the advertisements for the Kickstarter that are always on the sidebar. And then in our Facebook group, our Facebook group is lit, but we don't ever post nothing in there. But anyways, various other Facebook groups where they're posting about stuff, I tend to pay attention to that, and I just ignore the drama. And so, like, I have no drama unless I choose to be involved in it. Like, if I choose to look at Twitter stuff, or if I choose to look and dig deep and figure out who's done what or who said what. And I think that's great. I think that's a great way of avoiding drama. And I would just say that if there's anything anybody needs in their life, it's to avoid drama.
Drama is stress.
So, why do you think it is that people like drama? Why is TNT so, TNT, the drama network, which has...
That's a good question, because I know of people, possibly even in my own family, that I feel like, I don't know if it's almost like they don't, it's like, I don't know, it's like they must, to me, if I'm them, I'm thinking, I don't feel alive unless I'm involved in drama. And I don't know if it's they've seen too many movies, TV shows. that are like, oh yeah, there's lots of drama, so I need to have the same thing to have something. I don't know. I detest drama, anything stressful in my life. So, but people love it and they engage in it. That's my thing. Why would you engage in it? And I've seen people like, even if someone comes at you, why would you react to that? Because all that does is just perpetuate it. And if someone came at me, I'd just be like, okay, I'm not going to reply.
No, I'm going to fight them. I fight everybody because you know me.
I'm not. I won't. I don't engage in it.
Meet me behind the easy
They can
mark.
say whatever. I mean, of course, unless it's a friend or someone I know well, and then I can respond in a reasonable manner.
I don't
But on
respond.
the internet, why would you even bother responding to these people that are wanting to just start fights?
Because it's fun.
I think for some people, it's cliche, but it's like, I think for some people, it makes them feel alive.
Yeah, I think it's true. And so here's the thing. This is what I've given this some thought. I think that having drama in your life gives you purpose. It makes you feel purpose. It makes you feel like you're doing something or that you're important. Like you've got something going on, when really the lack of drama in one's life, to me, is an indication of the health of the person, not just mentally, but also, what's the term I want to use? Like when you got your life together. You have got all your ducks in a row. You're prioritized. You have your priorities. You are not yelling at the drive-through lady because she forgot your
Right.
ketchup that you wanted to mix in with your mustard
Yes.
because you're a deviant.
Love that, though.
Enrique.
Gives it a nice tang.
Don't look at me like that.
You
man.
and your mustard ketchup.
That's
No,
garbage.
that's me. I like the mustard ketchup.
I do not understand how I have come to be in the presence of so many perverted people in my life that would mix condiments.
You got to spice it up.
You don't have to.
Ketchup is lame by itself. It's okay. It's good. Don't get me wrong. I put
is not
ketchup on
lame.
everything.
I don't put ketchup on anything.
I love ketchup,
I
but
eat
it's
my fries dry.
well, why?
You know why?
they're better.
Because they're fine. Like they
No,
are.
some of them are not.
Most of them are.
Brahms
Get you a
fries.
good crinkle cut from Brahms.
I'll eat.
Brahm fries with ketchup. It's pretty good.
I'll
bro.
eat Brahms.
Get you a good crinkle cut. Dip it in some ketchup. Add a little bit of mustard to it. Though.
No,
Gives
here's
it
my question. Here's my question.
mustard engage.
You're not eating fries then. You're just eating ketchup because you can't taste the fries.
You can't taste the
No,
fries.
you cannot.
Don't drown it in the
No,
ketchup.
you're not. No, if you put ketchup, it's just like putting onions on anything. It
See,
just tastes
right
like
now
onions.
you're creating drama.
I'm
but I
not
don't
creating.
need none.
No, because you are ignorant.
I'm
You don't-
hashed. No,
you
see,
don't
now
know. You're
you're
ignorant.
calling me names so
I'm
as
not
to
calling you
create
names.
drama.
I'm not
You called
calling
me
you names.
ignorant.
You
That's
are
a
ignorant.
name.
That's not a name. That's a descriptor.
Okay, well, you're calling me descriptors. How dare you?
You are a descriptor.
I am a descriptor. I am a descriptor. Descriptor, engage.
It's just robots that walk around describing things.
This is a Pontiac.
Adjectives, engage. I am
This conversation is useless.
I personally, if a drama is in my life, I shut down. I can't cope, and that's why I'm on medicine now. Effexor for the win. FTW.
Is that working?
I'm drinking lots of alcohol as well, so who
don't be
knows?
doing that.
I'm
You're not
negating.
supposed to do that
I'm
together.
negating the Effexor with whiskey.
That's not effective.
It's not Effexor. Effexor, engage.
It's the Depressticon.
What is the point?
Why should I continue on?
So I have. We love because it's the
I'm sorry. I'm going to have to take a moment for that. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So I have been struggling with depression, anxiety. I went to the doctor and got put on some medicine finally. I'm diagnosed, Jerry.
I know. I begged you to do it. I shamed you to
You shamed me to get diagnosed.
Yes.
She's like, yeah, get on some medicine, stat. And I'm like, but what about whiskey?
She looked at you. What a miserable
Oh, the
person.
miserable.
How could you not be depressed?
Depressed engage.
Tell me about yourself. Well, I have a nice podcast.
So I'm on Effexor now. Destigmatize, normalize depression medicine.
Is that what we're supposed to be doing?
Normalize.
I do think that it is and I'm about to hang on.
I'm going to tell you real quick before you
ahead.
say your thing. I'm going to say what I'm going to say.
Say what you're going to say.
I have had people tell me, don't tell people I'm on medicine.
Why?
And I'm like, why? Because in this economy, everybody should be up. And I'm like, and there's so much going on. There's so much wrong with the world. And there's so many people that are so messed up.
Who? What?
You're on medicine.
Wait a minute.
Be on medicine.
Wait a minute.
It's okay to be on medicine.
What? Why? Who is telling you this?
I know tons of people that feel like if you let people know that you're on some sort of antidepressant, anxiety medicine, like, I don't know that they're looked upon as crazy or whatever. I don't know. But that's how I grew up my whole life. Like, people, and even me, like when I was growing up, if you were on meds, like, oh, there must be something wrong. They're like, there's something wrong with them. But now, in this economy,
Okay, so first off, soapbox engaged.
so what? Oh, I need to say
Soapbox engage.
Okay, for number one, the only thing that is, and this really
destigmatize.
Yes. So the fact is that all that it indicates is that you're taking care of your mental health.
Right.
And that something, quote unquote, is wrong. Well, if you're diabetic, you're going to be taking insulin or some sort of pills for that. So you're not going to shame anybody for taking a medication for something that's physically wrong. Most of depression is something that is physically wrong, whether it be for the lack or the overabundance of some sort of neurotransmitter or whatever it may be, that taking a medication to help regulate that, even if it's for short-term or PRN use, that is addressing an issue.
What's PRN?
PRN is when you need it.
Oh.
PRN is when you need it. So it's something that you need to take to be able to either function or to be more optimal in whatever your emotional state is. It's stupid to think that just because somebody is taking a medication that there's something wrong.
Like they're unstable. That's basically.
You're taking a medication.
There's a stigma, though. You know that, right?
I
My whole life growing up,
I don't know
there's
that,
been
no.
a stigma to people taking medicine
I don't know
for depression. Like, you feel like, oh, this person taking this medicine, like they're a drag to be around.
No.
That was my stigma growing up, because I grew up in the age of when this all was starting. And it's like, if someone is on antidepressants, there's like, oh, yeah, they're kind of a drag. If they're not on antidepressants, there's something wrong with them.
Well, you're the most depressed person I know, and that's why I was like completely encouraging you and have been for years to get you to do something about it, because I don't think that there's no need for you to be depressed. You're around the greatest person ever. And
well, I mean,
shut up, Enrique.
But like in my case, most people think that you can fix it by other means.
How?
Exercise and diet usually
You don't
is the
do
one that.
either of those.
No, I do not. But I'm telling you.
But you don't, and here's my point that I want to make. You don't diet and exercise not because you're lazy and you're fat and you do this or that. That's not.
I lack motivation.
No, it's not necessarily motivation. You have other emotional issues that are a hindrance to you, that encourage you to view food as a comfort measure. It is your medicine.
Oh yes.
And so,
anytime I deal with drama or stress, I go to food and drink.
right. And so that in itself is an issue. So why not address that utilizing some sort of pharmaceutical, and then address some of the underlying issues that is exercise and health and things of that nature, from the standpoint of it being a mental health thing rather than it just being a I'm depressed, so thus I eat, and so thus this is what's wrong with me. Mm-hmm. That's I have a lot of thoughts on this. It irritates me.
But most people, like my wife,
I hate people.
the wife,
Not your wife,
Gina.
I like your wife.
Gina is able to deal with stress in a normal way.
Yeah, but Gina's irritating because she's so happy all the time.
But that's what I'm saying. Even her family, interestingly enough, well, I won't go into her
They're
family.
all happy.
She is able to deal with stress in a normal way. Whereas when it comes to me, my table, and I mentioned this in episode 162, when the wine got spilled, the game got ruined, the playmat got... And I told Charday this. I said, I was in a funk for 3 days.
Right, and that's not normal.
Because my setup in this room, the thing I had, this is my go-to room for fun and relaxation, was in upheaval. The table was a mess. The mat was gone because I pulled it up and I couldn't put the new one down. I was trying to take the table apart. If I don't have things a certain way in my life, I'm off the rails. I can't deal with it.
Right.
That's not normal.
No.
My wife can deal with it. She deals with it in a normal fashion. It doesn't completely just annihilate her emotionally as it does me. So me and Jerry have become friends over the years. I've told him some of my stuff, and he's like, you need freaking help. And he forced me. He literally, Enrique,
I forced him.
he forced me to go to the doctor. And we had a phone call in which he fought me, and because I said I would go to the doctor. And then I changed my mind because I was feeling better the next day. And he said, no, so you lied to me. You said you'd go to the doctor. I was like, yeah, well, I was feeling bad that day. I feel good now. And that's the thing. That's depression. You have your good days. You don't want to deal with it. Then you have your bad days. You don't want to deal with it. So either day, you don't want to deal with it. And I was feeling good. He's like, no, you need to go to the freaking doctor. I was like, no, Jerry, you're not the boss of me. And he's like, you're not. And
I am the boss
we
of
had
you.
a drop. We had a drop dead argument in which Jerry he's so freaking pig-headed. He wouldn't just leave me alone.
Resolved
That's
peacefully.
And so finally, I was like, all right, fine. Because he's like, you feel good now, so you don't want to deal with it. But then when you feel bad, that's when you need help. And I was like, yeah, but I feel good right now. I don't want to deal with it. And it's this vicious cycle of mental depression and anxiety. You need help with it. So he called a lady that he knows because he's a medical professional, as he often proclaims. And I went to her. She was very nice. She said, yeah, you got some issues. Prescribe me Effexor. I'm all good, baby.
We're sponsored by Effexor now. This podcast,
Big man.
This podcast brought to you by Pfizer. But no, I think and that's an important thing to bring up, is that there's so much drama and so much stuff that's going on in the world today, and that depression and anxiety and these things of this nature are kind of insidious, and that sometimes you get in this funk that you don't want to deal with it, or you don't know what to do with it, and you do just sometimes have to just make an appointment and take care of it. And it's something that I'm particularly sensitive about, because not only have I dealt with it in the past, but in my employment and being around various other, kind of like jobs, such as, not just on the fire department and EMS, but also police, that there is a lot of anxiety and depression in those jobs. I was told when I took a job in the ambulance, I remember years back, that every 5 years, 5 years is as long as you last. 5 years is the burnout. People burn out. Mm-hmm. And then you start hearing all these statistics about, most cops, this kind of a trigger warning regarding that, but most cops commit suicide. More cops commit suicide than those that die
Really?
in the field. Yeah. And the fireman rate of people who are just, not just alcoholics, but just have various other issues with depression and anxiety is incredibly high. And so it was something that they were always pressuring us. And at the same time, those are the least people that will talk about it. And so having an environment where you're very open about it. And I think that in board gaming, that can be a very insidious thing because it is an activity where people can be very recluse and closed down. Have your small group of people where you show up, you do your thing, you never talk about anything of great importance. You feel somewhat good when you engage in this activity. You go home, and you never really stop to think about your own mental health, and you just go back to the daily grind. And I think it's important for people who not only suffer from depression or anxiety or think that they might do to kind of reevaluate what type of help they might need. It's a thing that people should do occasionally.
Well, and depression and anxiety can be genetic, right?
Well, of course, there's a lot of mental health issues that can be genetic.
I only say that because my mother had depression, and there was like times where weeks would go by, she'd just be cooped up in her bedroom. My brother, we're getting really... Okay, but my brother has issues. He's had issues. And he attempted suicide. My mother attempted suicide. So it's like, it's a thing. So, and especially if it's in your family, you need to take care of that.
Right.
What would you do without me?
I would do.
You and Enrique.
I died. He's useless.
Yeah.
Useless.
He's useless.
No, you
He's
clicked.
absolutely useless. But on
Yes.
and like I said, on a serious note, I mean, that's something that I have seen happen, not just with coworkers, and I mean, people that I have known have gone down that route, and it's a scary thing, and
I've never had those thoughts. FYI, I just get. I would say mine. I do get depressed, but mine is more anxiety based.
right. I think that's just something that people need to be mindful of, not just the anxiety and the depression. But I'm going to step off my soapbox because I could talk on this for an hour. Maybe we need to do a podcast about this, but I will say this. People don't know what it's like not to be depressed when you're depressed.
Yeah.
The feeling itself is odd. You are used to feeling a certain way. You think this is normal. You think this is fine until you're not that way, and it shocks you.
There's days when I remember being a kid, and it's like, oh, we're going to Six Flags. I'm super excited to go to Six Flags. But then as a grown adult, most people generally live for the weekends, right? Mm-hmm. But when you're depressed, like there's literally nothing you look forward to. Like nothing. Nothing brings you excitement. All the things you enjoy,
It's just
nothing
gone.
works. Like you're just, I'm miserable and for no reason. And it's like, it's like you're, things that would normally bring you joy, like that's it. It's not there. It's gone. You just feel nothing. Like you literally just feel nothing. It's a weird feeling. And then when you come out of that, or when I come out of that, I'm like, oh yeah. So that's a feeling I probably shouldn't have, because now I recognize, oh yeah, now I do want to do this. I do want to do that. Mm-hmm. So that's the difference between being depressed, not being depressed.
And that's what a lot of people forget, is that depression is not necessarily feeling bad. By definition, depression is the lack of emotion.
Yes.
You can feel nothing. You cannot feel bad or good. It's just the lack or the complete absence of enjoyment or anticipation. And that alone, that can be just as insidious as the...
It sucks.
Yeah. And so,
Well, and that's why, like, I've known people that are depressed, and I do it myself. But I'm like, oh, but okay, well, just think of this. We're going to do this and this, and we got this to look forward to. This, but when you're depressed, I can list off stuff all day, but it doesn't matter to me.
right. And I think I've often thought that if there was actually some sort of study done sociology-wise on board gamers, the amount of games that somebody buys, and along with one of those charts that say, all right, like
A Venn diagram.
that up and down thing where it goes, okay, the more games you have, the chances of you being depressed goes up as well. It's like you are buying more games to have something that you can anticipate that may bring you joy in the future.
Yes.
I think, and I often worry when I see people on Facebook and places that are like, how big is your collection? I've got 400 games. And I'm like, how many are you playing? And why are you buying that? Are you just a collector? Or are you one of these people who are just trying to find enjoyment by purchasing something, to have something to look forward to. And the thought of looking forward to playing this game that you're never going to play, you're not going to open it, you're just going to punch it or just put it on the shelf and that's it. Then on to the next thing. It's like you're trying to anticipate something that you'll never get, but you want to put something out in front of you that you can pursue. If that's not some sort of pathological depression amongst board gamers.
It is. Because I don't know if you remember, but we had this conversation after one of our podcasts ended one day, in which you proceeded to tell me I need help because I said, basically all my joy comes from things I'm looking forward to.
Right. Which is not good.
So your joy comes from things in the future that have not happened, but you're trying to create something to look forward to. That's your hope, and that's your joy. So that's not normal. That's not healthy. You should be able to enjoy the present, I guess.
Right. And this is something that I learned from my wife. It's something that the wife that completely shocked me.
Jennifer's her name, Jerry.
Yeah, I just call her the wife. Is that putting something off or delayed gratification is a true thing. But when it comes to your own mental health, being present and enjoying something in the present, that's what it's about. It's not about having your phone out and trying to record your kid doing something and taking pictures and being on Facebook. It's about being able to...
Well, you got to show other people how happy you are.
No, it's about being able to observe and to be a part of something. It's not about buying stuff and then watching for reactions like it's likes or engaging in a specific activity. It's just about being with that person or those people and enjoying the moment and being present in it and not thinking or being worried or depressed or anxietied out about something else in the future. Just being in the moment. And if you can't do that, if you're sitting here, one of those types that are always trying to put something off or have something to look forward to, you have to have something else to make you happy, and you can't be present in the moment, you're probably depressed. This is absolutely nothing what we were having planned talking about or how we got on this. But since we're on it, if you have issues like that, then obviously go to somebody that's a medical professional.
We are not doctors.
I am a medical professional.
Jerry is a medical
but
professional.
I can't give medical devices
or advice.
Advice over the phone. This is a podcast. Perhaps you shouldn't be seeking medical advice from the guy that you listen to on the podcast. But anyways, that's our banter section. Good Lord, that got heavy.
Wow. Wait. Let me see here.
Do you have another cut?
No, wait.
Banter segment. Engage.
So that's a nice bookend.
It might be the Weller talking. But for some reason, you know how sometimes...
Weller, a terrible antidepressant. Why does alcohol make you feel so good, but then depress you?
Well,
Here comes the knowledge.
Holy cow, what's that? There's a hologram at the bottom of this
You
cup.
said that before.
It's the Crown Royal glass I gave you.
You have a Crown Royal glass and it has a hologram. Gavin gave me this glass.
It's got a crown.
And it has a crown on what looks like to be some sort of regal pillow.
Regal.
Have you never laid your head on a regal pillow? I have.
Every time the queen goes to sleep, she lays her head on a regal pillow.
That sounded super weird. It sounded like Jeff Goldblum. Come into my hotel room. And,
go to sleep on a regal pillow.
Regal pillow. And everybody likes talking about Queen Elizabeth.
Okay, we're done. Go.
Yeah.
We gotta. Okay, Die Macher.
Meghan
Die
Markle.
Macher.
She married.
Weren't we going to discuss Die Macher this podcast?
It's
Jerry was.
It's Die Macher. If I keep calling it Die Macher, please don't send me hate mail because it's spelled die in English, and so every time I see it, I think that.
The D-I-E. That's die.
Die Macher.
That's die in American.
Die. Kill Bill. Die Macher. That was a. Die Macher was the first game, if I'm not mistaken, that was ever listed on BGG.
Everybody says that.
It is a Euro game about German politics.
German.
That it was a Grail game for me. Die Macher was literally a Grail game for me that I have been wanting to play forever. The old version of it looked awful. The new version of it is spiced up just a little bit. This is by Stronghold Games and Spielworks, I believe. It came out. I had the Kickstarter. It has sat on my shelf for a long time, and finally we got to play it. Die Macher has this very weird board, circular, with all these tracks everywhere, and the whole game is based around these various stages where you're placing these cubes, which can represent either rallies or votes, and you're trying to get the most votes in these regions to win these political elections, or whatever they are, whatever these things are taking place in Germany. I don't know what they are. Quite frankly, this is a very complicated, heavy...
It's super complicated.
It's very complicated. It has a full page, front and back, player aid.
That's the only thing that helped me through this game.
Yes.
Because as Jerry's talking about it, describing it, we're playing it, I'm like, this, we've played a lot of games. 300 and something of that. I have logged on BGG 400 and something maybe. This game is one of the heaviest games I've played.
This game fried my brain in such a way because
it felt good.
It's not intuitive at all.
So here's what this game does. Here's what this game does that I think is very fascinating. It takes a mechanic, a little bit, a salt of every type of mechanism out there. It takes just a little bit and it throws it in there and says, okay, this is kind of area control. Okay, also it's also kind of like engine building. Okay, it's also hand management. Okay, you know what? No. It's also kind of like resource management. Oh, by the way, you have this hand of cards over here, and you can only use a certain amount of it. And you need to play this short game, but you also need to play this long game. But you need to really, you can negotiate
and
sometimes.
You got to use your money just right.
Oh, there's money involved too. And oh, by the way, and it's like, it's this annoying little person in the background that keeps saying, and by the way, you can also, you have to pay attention, and stage one, you should, and it just goes, and it nitpicks you to death. But when you play this game, the first round of it, and literally after you've learned to play this game and you play through it, the first round is just a mulligan.
Oh, yeah, because that first round, I had no idea what I was doing and why certain things were necessary.
That first round ended, I knew it.
The moment the first round ended, I thought to myself,
we're like, we played that first round wrong.
I thought I did something wrong. What's going on? And then by the second round, there's 4 rounds in this game. By the end of the second round, I was going, oh, I get it. Mm-hmm. By the third round, I was engaged, and by the fourth round,
we were fighting.
I was completely engrossed in this game and thought to myself, my God, this is genius.
You're trying to get votes and influence votes and pay off votes. And the first round, I had no idea what I was doing. And then there was one critical thing where you could plant voters or so. I don't even know how you would describe it game-wise.
So the game is very abstract because anything that's complicated has to be abstract. When you set up the game, there's 4 areas in this big circle with all these tracks. This is a game of tracks. And in those 4 areas, you set out how many basically victory points that each area is worth. And so there's big areas that are worth a lot of victory points and some that are worth little. And so that instantly has this dichotomy in the game where, are you going to play the long game or are you going to play the short game? Are you going to put rallies and resources into this area that's in round 4 because you can play the entire board? Or are you going to focus on what is just right now? And what happened in our game was that me and Gavi completely fought each other over the first 2 rounds of the game. Enrique was strangely absent, completely out of the game the first round.
I had no factor in the first round whatsoever.
Very little in the second round. Enrique almost clutched this game. He literally sat out half of the game, but in the second half of the game, blew us away and almost won it. And that to me was what just fascinated me about this game was that how can somebody come in from behind? What other game can you sit around and do nothing hardly except play the long game, put all your resources and your rallies off, and then come in at the very last and be the person that I had to lay money down, yeah, he's going to win it. It was an amazing game. And some of the parts of this game is you have these hands of cards that are your not shadow agents. I've been playing a lot of Mass Effect lately.
They called them Shadow something.
Keep thinking of the Shadow Broker. The Mass Effect, the legendary.
Agents?
Yeah, the Shadow Agents. And the Shadow Agents come out, and they are these cards that you can play face down that are your superpowers. And they give you a little hand of these. And there's only like 3 of them, and you can play them out throughout the game. And so during a certain phase of the game, you go, okay, does anybody want to play a Shadow Agent? And you place it down. Everybody places them down face down, and you turn them up. And they do incredible things. And they can completely rig the election almost. And so those cards are super powerful. But if I play one and I'm first player, and I play one that cancels out Enrique's action because you can only do one action per each round that is of the same type, that really messes him up. So now you have this interesting little mechanic of player order really matters, and I love it when player order matters.
And Jerry was mainly first player for most of the game.
Entirety of the game.
Was it the entirety?
I fought for first player because the moment I realized how important it was, I held it. I won the game by the skin of my teeth, and I'm pretty sure that the only reason I won it was because I held first player throughout the game. So there's a thing at the beginning of each round. You bid for player order and you bid with money, which I love. I love it when designers listen. If player order matters and you make me spend something to get it, you've got my attention. There is nothing better when a game says, by the way, who goes first matters. And this is how you determine it. You've added an element to the game that has immediately engaged me. I love it. This game does it. The second thing that it does is The King is Dead. The King is Dead is an amazing game where you have 8 cards that you can only play throughout the entirety of the game. Those shadow agents, whatever you have, having those cards and being able to play them and when you play them and who plays them and what the player order, that is a whole nother game in itself. I love that. The second thing that you do of placing these cubes, which represent your rallies, which you use these rallies to basically multiply into votes, you can place them into the current election that's taking place, or you can think long term and plan them into the 4th round of the game.
Because even though, for example, in the first game, and the first round of the game that we did, me being just completely absent, and Gabi and Jerry fighting over the first half, I played a little bit of the long game and went for the second half of the game. And I completely blew them out of the water in the second round.
I have not seen a game where a player can be so absent and be so far behind and then play the long game, completely ignore the short game of it, and then just show up and give us such a hard time than Enrique did in this game. Enrique completely was not even in the first round, ignored it completely, started planning in the second round, and by the third round, Enrique just showed up and said, I'm going to win this. And it shows because you can play a short and long game in this entire event. Like I was playing very balanced. Gabi was playing very short game. Enrique was playing the long game.
As is my usual style.
From the entire time. And it was interesting that you have 3 players playing completely different games, feeling completely different about the game. And it was so razor sharp, so close the entire game. That's what indicates to be that this game has been play tested and refined like only a Euro game by somebody who knows what they're doing can make.
The final score was you had 137, Enrique had 125. me 118. And that all stems from a first round when none of us knew what we were doing. Well, or it didn't really have the full grasp of the consequences of what we were doing.
Because I thought I was going to lose in the the entire game because I was absent in the first round.
And this, I'm going to come out and say, without a doubt, this is not my type of game.
No.
I don't like this game. But it's not for anything other than the fact that it's just not my type of game. As far as mechanisms, gameplay, this game is absolutely freaking brilliant in that I've never seen anything else like it. This is a game unlike anything else I've ever played. Negotiation, bidding, worker placement. It's unlike anything I've ever played in my life.
And it's interesting because there is a little, like the negotiation. There's very little negotiation in it. The only thing happens is that when a round is over, you're adding up the votes, and you have to get past a certain point for one person to be declared the winner. But in the first early rounds, it's often that a player won't reach that threshold. And so two players can then say, okay, we're going to ally, and we are going to get the victory point. So that's when the negotiation happens, is when these players can decide who is going to be partnered. So it's just a little bit of negotiation. It's a little bit of area control. It's a little bit of hand management. It's a little bit of engine building.
And I feel like there's some manipulation with the social media that's in the game.
So there's this just insane little thing that when you're playing this game, you don't realize what's important. But there's these little pegs that you put out that are media little markers, they call them. And they cost a bunch of money to put them out there. But when you put them out there, whoever controls the media can control what people kind of are wanting in this region. So each region has these 4 cards, and it shows either negative or positive, and then like 5, 6, 7, I believe, different issues that they're either negative or positive about. And they stem from like popular opinions of like education, pollution, things of that nature. And your agenda, which is kind of like your engine, is what your party's position is.
So if your cards match those that are out there, then that's bonus points for you.
Bonus points, they're multipliers. And so you want your agenda to match this region. What is so insidious...
And those change from round to round.
Right. And so each region has different opinions. And so this weird thing takes place where your engine looks like it matches perfectly at round 1, but at round 2 you can look and see you don't match up at all. And so there's this another round of the game where you're switching out your agenda. It's like, I was pretty tough on pollution, but now I really don't care about it. Okay, Halliburton. You want that?
Well, and it's very...
I like Monsanto's.
This game, I have no issues saying this game is freaking brilliant.
Yes.
I don't like it, but it's freaking brilliant. Because it's like... Okay, we're going to go to, just to make it something I can relate to, we're going to go to New York and campaign. But what the people in New York want is going to be completely different than what the people in Texas want. So then, after New York, we're going to go to Texas and campaign. Well, we need to change up what we're saying a little bit.
That's exactly what
but
it is.
It's not only that. There is even the pegs that Jerry was talking about. If you have enough pegs in a certain town that you're trying to control the media, and you control that media, you can change the people's political views as well.
Which is super...
With media, which is
super harmful. There is nothing more frustrating than having the perfect agenda.
I had the perfect hand, and Jerry, due to him having the media...
wrapped around his finger.
Whatever, yeah. He swapped out cards that I needed, and he took them out. This game, it's like, in retrospect, I want to say I love this game, but I don't. I hate this game. I love it. But it's freaking brilliant.
This game is...
I've never played anything like it.
There's certain classifications that I have of games in my head, and this is one of those special games that I call a Bubba game. when me and Bubba play a game, we're often at each other's throat, and there's certain games that every time. There's never been a time, but like Bubba makes it clear that when we play a game,
his point of a game is to beat you.
yes, and this is a Bubba game. Like I would play this with Bubba.
I would love to see Bubba play this game.
And this game is an Interstellar. Like I loved Christopher Nolan films. I remember going to the movie theater and watching Interstellar and being completely blown away. And walking out of the movie theater and telling my wife, I think this is one of the greatest films I've ever seen. I never want to watch it again. And I have never watched Interstellar again. It is an amazing film. You should watch it once. But to repeat it, it's almost like, you know, there's like a reason when you see something and it doesn't come out right on film. Like you watching fireworks and you can't record it on your phone because there's no point. Nobody gets online and watches videos of fireworks.
A sunset.
Yeah, nobody watches a shooting star on somebody's grainy iPhone video of it. You see it in person and you watch it once, and then it's in that back of your head that you can't really picture it, but you know how it made you feel. Die Macher is a game that when I played it, I remember thinking the whole time, holy cow, this is why this game is held up as being one of the best.
This game is special.
And at the same time, I thought to myself,
I can't stand it.
There are so many people out here that this game will not speak to. So for those of you who are Euro fans, that you like dry Euros, that you like tracks, multipliers, and you are willing to put in the effort to play a game that is going to be, it's a heavy-weighted game.
On saying that, though, once it was set up, once you went through it, even I'm the type of person, and Jerry gets angry at me for this. We can watch how it's played. I can watch a game on how it's played. It does me no good. I personally have to go through the steps of the game to understand how it's played. This game, first round, a complete loss to me because I had no idea what I was doing. But that player aid literally tells you every step of the game. And I loved that player aid, and every game should have a player aid like that.
This player aid was the only saving grace of this game. I will say that the components are very plain. There's nothing,
just cubes and cylinders.
There's nothing fancy about it. There's nothing fancy about the art.
Cube cylinders and paper money.
I will say the paper money was awful. I will say that when I opened up the rule book was one of those Agricola, Uwe Rosenberg type rule books where it's small print. Everything's just out there to you. I read the rule book and I halfway got it. I watched a video and I halfway got it. And it's like the whole time I was having this problem in learning it of like feeling comfortable. But the moment I set it up and you pull out that player aid, it's like it has your hand and it just walks you through it. You can literally read through the rule book, watch some video on it, and feel pretty comfortable about it. And then after that, I don't think we ever opened the rule book. We just went off that player aid.
You just went off the player aid.
This game is a grail game for me. I think that it has a potential to be a top 10 game for me. It is mechanically one of the most complicated, intricate, but yet just fun and tight games I think I've ever played. At the same time, it's themeless in a lot of ways and not necessarily as engaging as some games. Like you don't really feel like you're, I don't know what it feels like to be a German politician. I don't know. Maybe they walk around drinking beer and going to Dusseldorf. I don't know what they do. I don't know.
Dusseldorf.
Like what is Dusseldorf?
I don't know.
I don't know anything about this. This theme is so foreign to me.
Yeah, I mean, to me, ignore the fact that it's German. It felt political to me. I got
guess.
The political feel. Yeah. But like I said, it's like going to campaign in New York, then going to campaign in Texas.
Yeah. This game desperately needs to be revamped into a lighter, more streamlined other version, I think. But otherwise, this was an amazing game, and I see why it was so respected. And I am very pleased. The other Grail game that I've been wanting to play has been Hansa Teutonica and Die Macher. I got them both kind of at the same time. I have not been disappointed in either.
No.
And I think that they are both
Old games that hold
just
up.
old games that you're going to have a hard time beating.
Which I'm very pleased with because we played Pillars of the Earth a long time ago.
And it was trash.
Pillars of the Earth. That's my thing. Pillars of the Earth has been surpassed.
Yes, it has. I don't say it's trash. It was good. I'll take that back. It was
For
good.
what it was, when it was, I'm sure it was good.
Absolutely. And there are games that are good for what they are when they are. And at the same time, when you have these games, when they come out and they get killed, for instance, and I'm going to caveat this. Let me end this real fast. I think Die Macher is excellent. I don't think it's for everybody.
No.
If you're a Euro fan, obviously, I approve it. Enrique, give it a score.
I give it 10 at least.
Holy cow.
Holy cow.
I didn't know you
No,
could
this is
get-
my-
Like, it's a 10 for me.
Can you
Like,
get-
okay,
A 10 at least
Okay.
on a scale of what?
One.
Okay, well, let Enrique talk. Go.
like the theme to me,
Hey, you put that glass on the table. No glasses on the table.
I have drank all this Weller.
I know. Put it on that.
I drink your Weller. Your milkshake.
Go, Enrique. Put that on that table over there, not on the
thing-
table.
There's nothing left, buddy.
for me, the theme will not impact my rating for this game.
You thought Germans were mythical creatures until we played this game and I explained to you that they were real.
The theme for me will not impact the rating for this game because the mechanics and just the gameplay itself is just so freaking hard, but so engaging. It won't impact my rating for this game. It's just so good.
Have
Well,
you
not
ever,
at a 10.
have you ever played a game? It just blows me away every time. This completely blows me away every time I play a game that is so freaking heavy. And Enrique, who doesn't read rule books, who goes by just whatever I'm telling him, just
Dominates.
dominates a game and understands mechanics.
He gets the most random things, and he
so
just
there are
dominates
random
them.
games. I'm going to make a list of random games that Enrique
War chest.
Oh my god! Let's just give you a quick overview of War Chest. The fact is that I don't know what's wrong with War Chest, but apparently it is designed. Whoever designed War Chest, the guy who did Undaunted, I can't think of his name off time. David Thompson, I think it was. Who just sits down and decides that he's going to make a game that is going to speak to, I don't know, Gen Zers that live in basements and who have neck
love
beards
chicken nuggets.
and love chicken nuggets. Because the fact is that every game that he makes, Enrique goes, I know how to play it. And it's like, no, you don't. Like you never read the rule book. Oh, I don't need a rule book. I've got this. Yeah. Anyways, so Die Macher.
I would give Die Macher, I'll say it correctly, I guess, Die Macher. For me personally, like I said, I hate it. It's not my style of game, but I can't deny it's freaking genius. I'd give it an 8 just because of that. 8 out of 10. And I didn't like it. I hated it. But I have to acknowledge its uniqueness. And that's why I was saying, like, it's a Grail game. It's old. Just like Hansa Teutonica. It's a cube pusher. But literally, I've never played a game like Hansa Teutonica.
No. Yeah, man.
Pillars of the Earth. It's a worker placement. It's been replaced several times since
Have you?
Pillars of the Earth.
And I'm not much of an art snob, but when you've ever been to like a museum,
I don't like museums.
I like museums because the fact that this is curated pieces of things that people who apparently are in the know say that this is important, and I like looking at stuff and going, well, I might not understand why it's important or why it's good, but there's something deep in me that says
I realize that it's hard to depict light, but Thomas Kincaid is the painter of light. Am I right, guys?
Yeah, it's like it's like you see something like a Pollock or something, and you look at it and go, I can't describe exactly what it is, but there's something inside of me telling me that this is important. That this is something nice. There was one time when I was down in San Antonio. I went to this
A
art
Starry Night.
I went to this art fair, and there was this guy that just had painted random things. And I walked into all these paintings. And you know how it is when you're looking at all these paintings and you know you're not going to buy them. You're not going to buy a painting. Like you just don't.
No, I
You're
would
just
not.
in there
No.
just to look at it.
I walked
Not
by.
unless it's Star Wars based.
I walked by this, and you just got a new Mandalorian poster.
Thank you, Bubba.
It looked good. Oh, Bubba got you that?
Yeah.
I love that, man. I walked by this guy's paintings, and there was one that I stopped and I stared at it for a long time. And he comes over and says, "Do you like it?" And I said, "What is this?" And he says, "It's a fire." And I go, I know that's what it is, but it looks like it's indoors. I said, I said I was a fireman at the time, and I said, this looks like a fire that's encased in something. It was this beautiful picture of a abstract painting of a fire. I said, it looks like it's a fire inside a house, like it's in this dark room. And this guy says, yeah. He says, he was watching some movie, and he describes to me where he got this inspiration for this fire. And he says,
Backdraft.
It's something, basically, is what it was. He says, I drew a picture of what I thought a fire looks like inside a house. And he says, it's just this dark background and all this stuff. And I said, it's amazing. I said, because you captured exactly what it looks like. And he says, well,
What it looks like or what it feels like?
he says, tell me what it looks like. I said, well, I said, in every firefighter show, you see inside the house. And I said, you can't. It's pitch black. It's dark. And I said, the scariest thing is that you're crawling through this place, and it's nothing but smoke. It's complete blackness until you get to this eerie glow. And I said, and as you approach this glow, like you're going towards the end of the tunnel, you get to the room where the fire is at, and that's the only place that you can see is the most dangerous place that you can be. And I said, and that's when you can see, when it's super hot and it's lit up. And if you can see it,
You're in danger.
there you are. Like, now you've got to deal with it. And I said, this picture that you've depicted, if you were to tell me a fireman painted this, I said, I would believe it, because it looks like when you're just about to break that barrier, when you can almost see the fire, but you can't. I said, it's amazing that you captured that. And in that moment, I realized that's what it is that there are certain types of artwork that speaks to certain people. It's not universal. And I'm sure that painting didn't sell. Like, most people just looked at it and thought, what is this? But there are certain games that will speak to people. And I think Die Macher will only speak to about 10% of the board game community. But those that it does, it will in a way that will be as important and as classical and as not elegant, but just smooth.
It's one of those games where it's like, it's either going to be your number one or
Right.
not.
Yeah, it's like I'd seen so many people post this in their top 10.
It's not going to be in my number one.
I love getting on BGG, and when somebody, if you want to see a post that lights up, somebody says my top 10, everybody clicks on it. It doesn't matter. If you say top 10 whatever,
Yeah.
people will click on it because
Clickbait.
I will click on that to see, and I will judge you harshly. Oh, speaking of which,
We have a top 10.
We have a top 10. So let me speak harshly.
That's
to
a
this.
it's a good top 10, except for a couple games, which I want to address.
This podcast is going to go long, but I'm going to speak to that just too. And I don't know this person. We've not gotten an email from them in the
I don't
past.
think we have.
I have not seen an email from this person in the past. This is from Mr.
Eric Hammett.
Eric Hammett.
His top 10. Number 10, Castles of Burgundy.
Respected. The color palette on that is awful, but Castles of Burgundy is a solid game.
I would say the Castles of Burgundy card game, even better, but that's just me. And number 9, Power Grid.
Very interesting. Power Grid has one of the best catch-up mechanics, and I like the thing that makes Power Grid one of those classical games is the 3 distinct games that you're playing. The bidding, the resource management, and the area control / route building.
Love the build.
And
the bidding.
I think that I don't want to say Power Grid's ever been killed. There's other games that do one of those things better, but it's hard to find a game that does Power Grid.
Yeah. Number 8, Automania.
Automania's solid.
We played that once at BGG several years ago. It's a unique game. Another unique game that I would like to play again because of its uniqueness.
I wish they would reprint that or make it more readily available.
Number 7, one of my all-time favorites, Voyages of Marco Polo.
Excellent game.
I will play Marco Polo anytime you ask.
Excellent game.
Number 6, Airlines Europe.
Alan, yes, Moon's one of his best. Like, I know everybody plugs Ticket to Ride.
Give me Airlines Europe any day, even though it's probably not in stock, or what do they call that?
It's not in print.
It's not in print right now.
Airlines Europe is an amazing stock speculation route building game. I think that it is probably Airlines Europe should be Ticket to Ride.
Airlines Europe, yes. Airlines, the stock in that game. Again, me and Jerry are doing our top 25s. I believe it's in my top 25.
Airlines Europe?
Yes.
Yeah.
Number 5, Rising Sun.
Congratulations for not putting Blood Rage. That's the only thing I'll say about that. I've never played Rising Sun.
Never have.
I played Blood Rage one time to know.
It's okay. Okay, here's where we veer a little bit from the board game snob beliefs, but it's okay. I had it in mind for the first couple of years. Number 4, Scythe.
Scythe.
It's okay.
You know,
it's beautiful.
It has beautiful design.
I have been playing Iron Harvest, the Scythe video game. It just come on Xbox Pass.
Oh, yeah.
And so I've given it a chance to play it. Scythe is one of those beautiful games that just is shallow. It's just the Megan Fox of the board game world.
How dare you?
Hansa Teutonica is number 3.
Number 3, Hansa Teutonica. A recent get of Jerry's.
Yeah.
And since we've played it, oh my God.
What an amazing game.
Freaking amazing. I love Hansa Teutonica. It's a game unlike like Die Macher, as we've just talked about. I haven't played a game like Hansa Teutonica.
What an amazing game. El Grande.
Number 2, El Grande. And I told him...
I seen that you had replied about the El Grande.
I said
Scythe.
solid list. Other than El Grande and Scythe, it's probably one of the better lists I've seen.
Here's why. Okay, so El Grande, not just with Tammany Hall, which supposedly killed El Grande. I see why people like El Grande. I think there are so many other games out there that does what El Grande does better. If you want a better theme with some craziness, even though I didn't particularly like it, what's the space game that was Havoc? What's that? Cry Havoc?
Cry Havoc.
Cry Havoc does that very similarly. Even Royals. Even Royals has a very...
Freaking love Royals.
Freaking love Royals. And even The King is Dead 2nd edition does a very similar, but to me, a very more tighter mechanic on that with the 8 cards.
El Grande's fine. I feel like it's been outdone since.
Okay. His number 1 is Concordia. And here's why people love Concordia. Every time I've played Concordia, I've just been impressed by how smooth, how sleek it is, and just how... You know when you watch something on television and you know what to expect from everything?
Yes.
It's like you watch an episode of The Office and you know what every person is going to do because you feel familiar with it. That's what Concordia is. You know exactly what to do. There's no ambiguity. There's no hesitation. It's just there. And Concordia is an amazing game because of that. And I see a lot of people rate Concordia, even though it's very light and it can be very dull in a lot of respects, as being their number 1. Concordia is just a pure game. I mean,
I agree.
It is just a slick game. And it's hard to... You know, when you have something like Concordia, it's hard to distill down what is it. Is it the player board? It's interesting that he has a lot of games that have a player board on them. What's his name again? I didn't see his name. Eric
Hammett.
Hammock. If you want something deeper, I would definitely try Underwater Cities and The Godfather, because man, I love those both. But
See, I prefer Concordia to The Godfather.
you do?
Yes, I love Concordia. I love The Godfather, but I like what Concordia does better. I like those cards being the multiplier. I love that in all games. I love multipliers. But Concordia is just streamlined. You got those resources. You got that hand management. You got the card multipliers. I freaking love Concordia, and I have no problem being it somebody's number one game because it does what it does probably the best, in my opinion.
It's good. It's good. That's all we have time for. We got to get off here. We got more stuff to do. But y'all stay tuned. We've got our interview with Mr. Don
Gilstrap.
Yeah, he's in August, though. We're going to put his podcast off till August.
I don't know. His Kickstarter is August 24th. Backyard Chickens. Drop the "the."
Yeah, just
The
chickens.
The Backyard Chickens.
Like Madonna. We played Oath. We're going to play other stuff. We got Space Race and Edo and I don't know. We got all this other
Profiteers.
Who knows what we're going to do? We just want you to know we love you. Take care of your mental health. And also, please send us an email because we're going to be doing our top 25.
Yes.
And the reason we picked
I've done my top 25.
I've done it.
And mine is shocking to myself.
Okay, well,
Nobody's more shocked than me.
we're going to put a lot of effort in this top 25. We might even have Enrique do his top 5 or top 10.
Oh.
Shocking to him.
He's surprised.
But send us your top 10, top 5, top 25, whatever you want to do, just send it to us. Because I'm interested and we will hate on it. We didn't hate on Eric's. We actually respect...
El Grande Scythe.
Yeah, that's been killed. But you know what? I think it's important to play...
Hansa Teutonica does Scythe better. Just saying.
I think it's important to play Scythe and El Grande
Scythe is fine.
to move on to something else.
There you go.
It's kind of like you have to like Megan Fox to move on to Emma Stone.
There you go.
And eventually you move on to Jennifer Connelly, Elizabeth Weinstein. Move on.
All right. That's going to do it for this episode. I'm Gavi.
Hey.
Jerry's the
this
silent
is just
one.
as Jerry.
That's Jerry.
This
and Enrique.
Hi.
Say
And bye.
goodbye. Say goodbye, Enrique.
Thank you for listening to the Board Game Snobs. Stay classy.